Petrofac International Limited.
Keep
Assistant General Manager, Risk Service, Cholamangalam Risk Services. Then Senior HSE Engineer, Bureau of Veterinary, Mumbai. Advisor for Amarda Prakash, Kuala Lumpur. Safety Manager, Gamma Industries, Saudi Arabia. And Safety Design Review Engineer, Bureau of Veritas, India. And in ONGC, in various capacities like Superintending Engineer, Executive Engineer, Assistant Engineer, like that. We have him here to give a presentation. That's a webinar on understanding safety risks and human factors. I hope we all will enjoy his talk. Over to Narayanan, please.
Thank you, sir. Now, Narayanan, sir, I would like to welcome you for the address. Can we have you? Am I audible?
Good. Yeah. I can hear you. Can you hear me, Fatima?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There was a message in the chat box stating that there was no audio in between. That's why I asked. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Please continue.
Hope that you can see me as well as hear me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see you as well.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Today, the topic for our discussion is risk, safety, and human factors. This topic, the word risk and safety, that is very common word. Whereas human factors, it is not that much used. Risk, in fact, is used in almost all disciplines. It is used in finance, it's used in engineering, it is used in economics, it's used in ecology. It's used in healthcare, it is used everywhere. But if you take that whether the risk is understood, though it is used, that if you really consider whether the risk is understood, the answer is no. The risk is not understood in many of the levels, in personal level, in organizational level, in company level, in institutional level, sometimes at country level, and even at the world level, the risk is sometimes not understood. That is the problem that the company, the society, the country, and even the world faces. If you take that, the example that can be given is COVID-19. So what was the risk perception before? That we perceived the risk as wars, terrorist attacks, alien attacks from some extraterrestrial planets, and maybe kind of things. And we were preparing nuclear bombs, ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and laser beams, etc., etc. What actually attacked us is a microbe, for which we are not at all prepared. That is a real problem. And these kind of situations do really happen, not only in this many such examples are happening. So even very established companies like Kodak, Occidental Petroleum, and Lehman Brothers, etc., no more, they vanished because they have not perceived their risk well. And the risk not only you actually truly perceive the risk and mitigate that, only then can be sustained. So that is about risk. And when it is human factors, everything that we do is for, it should be for human comfort. And whatever you produce, and actually that we either produce some goods or services for human welfare. Both the services as well as the goods should be for human comfort right from manufacturing. If something is manufactured, for example, for eye testing machine, you are testing, and ophthalmologist at one side and the patient at the other side. It should be comfortable for both the people, and it should be comfortable for somebody who is shifting that. And not only that, it is manufactured somewhere else. So in manufacturing, where it is manufactured, it should be giving comfort to all the engineers and technicians there. And the raw material might have sourced from somewhere else, and there should give comfort there also. So right from the beginning to the users, and finally at the disposal level, it should give comfort. That subject, human factors, covers that. That we call short form HFE, human factor engineering. It has become a very big topic nowadays, and it is used almost in all disciplines: mechanical engineering, biomedical engineering, electrical, electronics, control room setup, and all that. So this, in brief, this is our topic: risk, safety, and human factors. Contents today. Before going to contents, let me thank Intersociety for giving this opportunity for this talk. And I personally thank Engineer Harindra Lal. His efforts are just marvelous. That I understand that this is a 34th talk happening. And for each talk, there is a lot of effort that is required. And the way it is being conducted, the exemplary initiative, that is commendable. I really, it is commendable. So the contents of this, this discussion is risk, safety, and human factors. We'll discuss upon that. And what exactly is risk? Risk and uncertainty are interconnected. When there is uncertainty, there is risk. We'll discuss that. And then we will discuss what are the types of risk that is around us at personal level, at company level, and organization level. And who are all faces risk? And risk in professions, we'll take one or two professions and as an example. And risk objective, we have set some objective, then achieve that. And what is the risk objective? And importance of diverse and wider perspectives in risk assessment, results of risk management cycle, sequence of safety implementation, and ergonomics. These are the topics that we will cover. That we will try to cover the vast topic in 40-45 minutes. And if time goes a little here and there, please pardon me. Risk, safety, and human factors. Risk is effect of uncertainty on objectives. So there is uncertainty everywhere, in everything that we do. That if things are not certain, there is some uncertainty element is there. So when there is an uncertainty element, then we can say that there is risk. And actually, that everybody and every person, every organization, every institution, every company, every society do faces this. Whereas what is safety? Safety is absence of risk. absolute safety, is it possible? Actually, there is nothing like 100% safety. It can only be a comparative safety. 100% safety is practically not possible. Human factors, as I discussed earlier, is a psychological and a physiological analysis for human life welfare and comfort. So uncertainty and risk. So we cannot rule out uncertainty from whatever we do. There is some uncertainty. When the child goes to school, there is uncertainty. When we are going to office, there is uncertainty. And when the company is operating, there is uncertainty. When you are developing a program, information technology, there is uncertainty. If somebody is manufacturing something, there is an uncertainty. Everywhere there is uncertainty. When there is uncertainty, there is risk also. When there is risk, then that risk management also comes. Actually, whatever we do, we need to know that what exactly is the risk. And if we know the risk, then half the war is won. And if you don't know the risk and what risk is perceived and what the true risk, if both are different, then it's a loser. That's why some of the companies are getting closed. That's what has happened in COVID-19. So, in risk definition, that it is defined as effect of uncertainty on objectives. This is the definition. So there is an important term which is coming here, objectives. When you have an objective and if it is not possible to achieve that, then and if if there is any uncertainty on that, if somebody is say objective that I want to attain 95 marks out of 100 in exam, if there is any risk on that, that is that's the objective that we want to achieve. And if there is a construction activity, say that there should be a accident should be 1 in 1 million. And if it is more than that, then risk is not acceptable. The company should be kept below that. So this is the objective. Objective can have different aspects. The objective can be financial in nature. You can set that this percentage of profit is objective. It can be environmental in nature. The CO emission or CO2 emission can be this. It can be safety parameters. It can be sustainability parameters. It can be anything. And with respect to that, but you need to do a risk management. It applies to different levels. Risk can be organization-wide. It may be if there is a project happening, a construction of say mini refinery, that has a risk level, and a construction of a bridge that is having a risk level, and it can be related to a product. You are applying product. Sometimes we have heard the other day that a Chinese company has withdrawn their toys because after manufacturing and distribution, they found that there was an element of lead in that. If the children use that, then there can be a long-term health hazard. So they have to withdraw them. And it can be processed. And we are all facing the risk. Every one of us faces the risk. Every organization, whatever type, is facing the risk. And every profession is facing the risk. So you are a scientist, software engineer, bank employee, chartered accountant, attorney, physician, professor, office staff, or electrician, or whatever, there is risk. But the risk of each profession are different. Risk of a construction engineer is different from an electrical engineer, is different from a physician. Because if you take a physician, that you'll be, that actually how it is being found out is by time and method study. Time and method study means that you can see that a person, a professional, whatever profession he is doing, that he is getting out of his home and going to his workplace, and what are the interactions that he is doing, and what are the risk factors that he is prone, and then finally he is coming back till that. Then you can identify that what risk that person is going through. That if it's an IT employee goes and comes to the office, then there are so many environment and circumstances there. And if it is a chemical engineer that in a plant, then he is going to a factory, there may be chemicals, there may be fumes, there may be temperature. If the physician that he goes to the hospital and it is the patients around the different sickness, and he is exposed to maybe germs and the microbes, etc., more chance of exposure for him. And if you say that a traffic policeman is more prone to the carbon monoxide and noise, etc. So that way you can identify that, how the risk in each and every profession, in whatever profession you take. And then if you take the business or a company, there are risks like a business risk, economic risk, safety risk, health risk, project risk, financial risk, risk from natural calamities, from man-made calamities, and sustainability risk. Risk in industries where there are various risks. There are ecological risks, environmental risks. There is risk from animals. There is risk from rodents. There is risk from microbes. The one that is attacking us is the last one that I mentioned. The risk from microbes that has seized the world now. If you take business risk, what is business? Business is a continued commercial activity. There is any risk to its continuation or in achieving its objective, then that's a business risk. Maybe more competition, maybe some strike happening, or maybe some new product, alternative product has come, or maybe that a policy change from the government, etc., can be a business risk. Similarly, each and everything can be more extrapolated. Economic risk, economics is demand and supply. And that if you bifurcate economics, it is macroeconomics and microeconomics. Macroeconomics, it is monetary policy and fiscal policy. Monetary policy is by the banks and reserve bank. Fiscal policy by the government. So whenever there is a change in, say, the monetary policy, cash reserve, there is an economic risk happening. Whenever there is a change in government policy or taxation policy, then again it's happening. So how then that is going to affect your operation, your company, that you can really work out that. So each and everything, project risk, finance risk, etc., can well extrapolate like that. For example, that if you take finance risk is concerned with money management and acquiring funds. And finance risk can be credit risk, country risk, that you may be getting from some other country. So in political, that is some political instability happens. There is risk, reinvestment risk, interest rate risk, foreign exchange risk, inflationary risk, market risk, etc. And risk for a valuer, that I will just omit this because there is not much of valuers here, I feel. I will tell you that what exactly is a valuer. Valuer instead. Valuer is one who values a company, a inventory, or that is the government has given that registration to that person. That is valuer. And whenever a startup a company is a startup. You don't know what exactly is the value. An angel investor comes, need 20%. What is the 20%? First of all, you need to know the value. And who will tell you that value? People have done, people have developed some major innovative ideas, but then how much is the value in the market? There is methodology for that. All those things are the values. Risk to an employee, IT employee, that if you go to an IT office, maybe this is general that it depends, varies from the office to office. Only when that if it is audited, then only the exact risk will do. But it will generally it will be slip, trip, fall. It can be a fire happening. It can be smoke. Smoke comes from fire. Actually, whatever fatalities are happening, more than fire, smoke is killing more people. Actually, 90% of the people killed are due to smoke. When there is smoke, asphyxiation happens. Because when there is fire, there is smoke, then there is no oxygen which you can breathe. And there is lack of oxygen, and that's what happens in most of the cases. And then in IT societies, normal that the wires are here and there, entangling wires hit against object compounds. This also happens. And when I audited some of the facilities, this has happened many times. Hit against glass. There are a lot of glass doors, etc. And people look into their mobile and just walk through and they hit their head. This has happened many times. Collision of people also happened. And loss of data, whatever you have stored after working so hard, it is losing. That data theft has happened. The bomb threat, external, internal, natural hazards, flood, hurricane, storm, etc. These are the threats. And IT, typical IT office can have. And when you take that this is as an employee, that as a business, that there can be occupational health hazards to IT employees. They are musculoskeletal disorders, visual problems is very common. Computer vision syndrome is there in many IT sector employees. And stress is there, IT and non-IT also, it's there everywhere. And the repetitive strain injury, because you are constantly working on mouse and keypad, and carpal tunnel syndrome. And other hazards are technology risk. Technology is itself that Linux also developed, and competitive technology somebody else has developed, and one has got acceptance, whereas the other not. So such risks also happening. And the business risk, which that business is a continuous process, wherein that you are supposed to make a commercial profit. That any risk to that is a business risk. It is applicable to IT as well. And security, data security, information security, etc. And the value risk, that you don't know what exactly is the value. That as a company, as a software is developed, a program is developed, how to value that, and how to that there has to be a value. That value, that if it is not identified properly, then you will end up in big losses. Common hazards in construction, that also I'm skipping because I don't know that much construction people I'm not expecting, that's why. And now that we go to safety. Safety is defined as a condition of being protected from harm or no non-desirable outcomes. When that we are protected, we say that safe. We need safety throughout life. We need safety not only for us, for our near and dear, for all the people, as well as for the possessions and property. We need safety in all our activities. When you're driving, when you're working in office, when you are, say, traveling, you need safety in all. So, with respect to safety, the hierarchy of is that first you eliminate unsafe. Whatever is unsafe, just eliminate it. If altogether elimination is not possible, then substitute that. And if that also, then you go for engineering control, and then administrative control, and then PPE. PPE is personal protective equipment. So in COVID-19, whatever people are wearing now in hospital, that's PPE. And what you see in road, that people are wearing a helmet, and maybe they are wearing a coverall with color, so that's PPE. So PPE will give you least protection, and it is not going to give protection. It's the last resort. And actually, that what should be done is the elimination first. So there was a chemical factory where the raw material used was a carcinogenic material. So you eliminate that material and look for an alternate process wherein that material is not required and a less dangerous material can be used. So that way you are getting much safer. Instead of telling people to say that you wear this and wear a mask and all that, it is, that still the material is there, that if his mask is put here and there, that he is prone to. He is susceptible to that material. So whether it can be eliminated, substituted, or then that whether some engineering controls can be applied, that is the hierarchy, accepted hierarchy for control, hazard control. So risk management, it is very important in our life, but whether it is being given due care, that is a larger question. Actually, that we, as a child, that our risk managers are our parents. Don't do this, don't go that, don't go near the fire, don't go near the water, don't go to the road. Like that. What is that? It is risk analysis and management. And personal life, that we are doing that. But many times, as a company, not all companies, but many companies, whether they are doing the risk management or not, risk analysis. If the true risks are not found out, then many times the company itself has vanished. That's what has happened. The example is Lehman Brothers. Occidental Petroleum was the largest company, and they were producing oil. And in 1979, I think, that there was a Piper Alpha incident, wherein one of the offshore platform was totally burned because the safety measures were not there. The company itself was vanished after that. Company. In our own case, that Bhopal incident, Union Carbide, that MIC, methyl isocyanide release, and that was one of the major corporations in the world. But now, after the incident, the company is not there because adequate risk was not perceived correctly. It was not controlled, and these are major cases that we are in. That if you look around your own place, that you can see that there are many hundreds of such cases, because identifying the true risk and then mitigating them and controlling them, that will give success to a company, to a society, to an institution, as well as to an individual. So that's the importance of risk management. Risk and hazard, they are actually interchangeably used many times, but both are different. Hazard is an agent that has a potential cause to harm. For example, electricity is a hazard, but risk is something different. Risk is a combination of a consequence of an event and likelihood of an event. hazard many times electricity is good, that if you contain it, if you are containing in a proper conduit, and then if there are measures, an RCCB, LCB, etc. in circuit, then it's good. But if it is open and it is exposed to a human being, then it becomes dangerous. Risk is one where the actual happening is counted. Hazard is there is potential. Risk is combination of consequence and likelihood. Risk management applicability. Risk management can be applied to all levels. It can be applied to individuals, organizations, institutions. It can be applied to any level. It can be applied to any subject. In fact, it can be applied to finance. Can be applied to disaster management. It can be emergency management, engineering, and information technology, business, all company setup. And there is no generic one-size-fits-all risk management approach that will work equally for everyone. Risk management, then it has to be a methodical way of risk identification and management. Risk objectives, that is very important. So what you achieve, when you say there is risk, you say there is a risk when you are not able to achieve an objective. An objective set by the organization may be different. Say a company can set objectives as a maximum accidents of 1 in 1 million manuals, or a profitability of 20%. This can be another financial objective. Or a carbon monoxide emission of maximum these tons per year. This can be another objective. Or the employee availability of this much percentage, or productivity of this much. That whatever values that calculated and really achievable, that the organization can set the risk objectives. And after setting the objectives, then whether those are being met, or is it being is there any deviation in that? That needs to be checked. So the objectives are the most important cornerstone for a risk analysis, and keeping the right objective is very important for any organization. Anyhow, there is no condition such as zero risk. Zero risk is absolutely not possible. So any risk management entails information. Without information, we cannot manage risk. Actually, the entire crux of the risk management itself is information. So instead of that, you need to know first what the true risks are. That comes from where? It comes from the information. Maybe the information is not available with one person, because now there is an information explosion. No one person can have all the information. Then the entire team need to sit and then brainstorm. Then only that we can identify the risk, and identify the control measures, and identify the risk management methodology. This is the best way out, because any setup you take, that it has become so vast, that there is if you take electronics itself, it has become so vast, and for that matter, that any other subject you take, that nobody can have control of that. So the risk management the important aspect is that garbage in, garbage out. That when we are doing risk analysis, the correct information should go in. Otherwise, the product that one will get will be garbage only. So the involvement of right experts, the involvement of the right risk facilitator, and then the right study, that will change the organization altogether. That will see that the organization is sustained, and will see that what exactly is the problems. Such risk analysis will throw you that what are the problems and what are the potentials that are. The risk when it is considered that the people say that even business, it can be risk averse. Some organizations are risk averse. Some are risk neutral, or some are risk seeking. Such attitudes are there. And then risk appetite is there, that somebody can take more risk without problems. And risk tolerance, somebody can tolerate risk. There is a tolerance level. And up to the tolerance level, that if the risk is taken, the business or the setup will be perfectly okay. But beyond that, then it can hamper the very existence of the business. Risk analysis is a group activity. It is that you draw experts, and there has to be a risk facilitator. He is having some overall idea and take overall discuss and then arrive at solution. This is the method. Multiple perspectives are always better. If multiple and varied perspectives are not there, then what will happen, that wherever we are, that we will go on that same track. To many of the companies, that's what happened. Nokia was one of the largest and fine manufacturers of mobile phones. It's no more there. Why? Kodak was such a great company, but now, because as per the risk, true risk, they could not, they either didn't identify this, and did not mitigate that. The steps in risk assessments are identify all the relevant hazards. That itself is a task that in a company, in its operations, in its activities, in its various departments, what are the hazards? And decide on harmful effects of such hazards. And then brainstorm what are the harmful effects that these hazards can have. Then evaluate the risk. What are the risks because of this hazard, and risk is different, as I told earlier. Risk is combination of consequence and likelihood. So then evaluate the risk from the list of hazards, and then arrive at the control measures. What are the possible control measures? Then implement the control measures, and then again relook whether what hazard is prevailing still, even after implementation. And then eliminate or minimize the hazards to a basic level. That way, the success of the organization can ensure. And the risk assessment should be a continuous process. If risk management is done, then there will be positive effects in the organization, like less accidents, less occupational health issues, less injury, and less business loss, better welfare, etc. Sometimes risk is an opportunity as well. When risk has happened, now COVID-19 is happening and it's a risk. But what HDR Harilal has done is he made it into an opportunity. That's why this discussion, this is the 34th such presentation happening. Otherwise, these people coming to say Trivandrum and having a discussion and deliberation, I don't think that maybe some people might, but how many people will be coming? And, so every risk gives an opportunity also, like this. That such risks that we need to identify that encash upon that opportunity. That the risk varies. I mean, in the timeline, as the time goes, the things do changes. Typical risk management process is identify risk to our objectives, understanding where they're coming from, and what may happen if they materialize, assessing their impact and likelihood, prioritizing the critical ones, determining a reasonable response, all the while monitoring its appropriateness and adjusting as necessary. So identify the risk and identify the control measures and implement the control measures, and then see whether the risks are persisting still or not. And that continues. That is the risk management. So when we have identified risk, we will see that there are categories of risk in an organization. It may be unacceptable risk, very, very high risk. Then stop doing any activity which comes under this category. For example, in maybe a construction site, a tower crane, maybe lifting some beams or something like that. That if you analyze when there is a chance of crane failure, then stop doing all such activities. Then there may be significant risk that you can proceed, but still that improvement is required. The activity can be proceeded. Tolerable risk. Again, okay, but then improvement is required. And insignificant risk. Risk is not required. So improvement also you don't follow that much, because making risk zero is not possible. But it should not harm you or your business or your people. That's your intent. So insignificant risk you may live with also. If you are making that also into no risk, then the cost will be very, very prohibitive. So such insignificant risk, if you that it is usually lived with. And so there's a principle in risk management that is called ALAR, as low as reasonably practicable. But try to achieve this level, as low as reasonably practical level, then can say that the organization is in good as far as risk is concerned. Consequence is a result or effect, typically one that is unwelcome or unpleasant. All processes have consequence, and we have seen that the risk is consequence into likelihood. So take the case of a petroleum tanker, LPG tanker. We know that in Mangalore somewhere there was a Moulavi, boiling liquid explosive evaporation. That there was a bomb, like that was the highest consequence. Otherwise, it can be a simple fire. It can be another consequence. It can be a jet fire. It can be a pool fire. These are the possibilities. That are the consequences. Then what is the frequency? This Moulavi happening, say if 1 million truck goes, it happens once. Or yes, pool fire happens, say that 1 lakh comes, maybe. So then you multiply these two, then you will get the risk. That then whatever is unacceptable, then such operation we need to stop. For risk management, for its success, then involve all levels of person, because everybody can contribute into risk management. And particularly, if there are different departments, take idea from all the departments. And not only our departments, but other interested parties also, from suppliers, creditors, from service providers, and you are providing the service, because they will have all their input. But all those things needs to be considered. And the risk assessor should be highly competent. And the team should be drawn from all specialties. And check controls and relevant effective, and ensure risk owner takes responsibility for it. Once the risk is identified, then it should be controlled. Otherwise, there is no use. So then the control mechanism should be put in place and it should be controlled. And that monitoring should happen again. These are the tips for success for risk management. Risk management, the cycle happens. If there is risk, then first step is to terminate it. But is it possible to totally eliminate this risk? And can the business or the company or the setup or institution go by eliminating that? Maybe it's a raw material, maybe whatever. Look for something alternative. If it is not visible, then transfer the risk. Sometimes insurance is a transferring mechanism. We have this risk. So there is a fire risk. So we are not eliminating the fire risk. Instead, say that we will insure. That fire risk still persists. But if the fire happens, the insurance company will provide you a compensation. That is a transfer. A substitute. So substitution of the risk by another risk, maybe less intensive risk. Or tolerate the risk if possible. If it is within the tolerable limit, then tolerate it and see that by engineering and administrative control, can you make it adapt? Or treat it, or sometimes take opportunities. Risk also provides opportunities. There will be some alternatives, alterations. So what are those? That needs to be studied and take that opportunity. Risk acceptability, that what risk we can accept. In India, there is no specific standard in risk acceptability that each company can set up a risk acceptability criteria in various departments. And in Netherlands, that the Netherlands is a pioneering country as far as risk is concerned. So they put for a construction, for a company work and all that, for new developments, 1 in 10 lakh is the acceptable individual risk per annum. That if there is 10 lakh, that 1 is acceptable. If it is goes more than that, then that cannot be acceptable. That is their acceptance criteria. Business risk. Whenever we set up business, there is risk. But without risk, we cannot set a business. So it is better that by methodical analysis, we found out what exactly is the risk. And then what are the potential risk control measures. If we know that, then we will be better off and in succeeding in the business. Because in Malayalam, that we do say that atil thottalam alannu thooka ennu parayunnu. That means that whatever you pour outside also, you should know that what exactly is the quantity. And if you know that, then some mechanism you can think of in solving the problem. If you do not know that what exactly it is, then there will not be a solution. Risk management is when done by various methods. Risk matrix is the most common method being used. A risk matrix is developed, and then risk is assigned to various scores, and whatever non-acceptable limit, acceptable limits, and the low limits, etc., it is categorized. And then whatever is beyond the acceptable limits, those are listed. Control measures are identified. Then those control measures are implemented. This is what exactly done in companies. And apart from risk matrix, there are so many other methods like YY analysis and then there is SWOT. SWOT also is a component. SWOT means strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So this can be used by, say, startups and businesses. So you analyze your strengths and the weaknesses, and then the opportunities and threats, and a list down, and then arrive at the control measures and conclusions. That is SWOT analysis. Risk matrix is applied in various disciplines. It is widely used in engineering, production, and other. And in HSC, health, safety, and environment, it is used. And finance and so also it is used. And business risk, it is used. Personal risk also. It can be used in almost all disciplines. Whenever there is, say, anarchy, pandemonium in the setup, then it is a candidate for risk assessment. And whenever there is a new project, there has to be it is better that a risk assessment be done. Whenever expansions done, additions done, whenever there is a change in environmental factors, whenever there is change in the law, whenever there is change in government policy, whenever there is a change in consumer preference, whenever there is a reduction in your profitability or a reduction in your revenue, then that risk assessment is to be done. Risk assessment is done by a risk analyst and a team of experts within the company. The experts are within the company and the interested parties and a risk analyst. And hazard identification, the three main questions asked are hazard, what can go wrong, consequence, how bad it can be, likelihood, how often it can happen. Then human factors, that is all about the risk and risk analysis. Human factors, human factors is nothing but application of psychological and physiological principles to engineering and design of products, processes, and systems. Human factors is when widely applied nowadays for, say, development of consoles, etc. If a console in process automation is concerned, it should be psychologically as well as physically, it should be comforting. And it should be comforting right at the production level to the employees and to the supplier and those who uses it, and it should be comfortable to them. This is the human factor. Now the human factor in engineering, HFE, has become a discipline and various studies undertaken under that. Ergonomics also is part of human factor engineering. Economics draws on many disciplines, actually. It draws on disciplines like anthropometry, biomechanics, mechanical engineering, industrial design, information design, visual design, user interface, etc. So that the product is comfortable to the people using it, and also by undertaking the production of that product. So I'm trying to keep the timeline. That's it. Thank you very much, and thanks a lot. I'm thanking the Intersociety for giving this opportunity. Thanking Engineer Harilal, and thanking all of you who are present here. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And I am available at this email address, hsc@narayanan.gmail.com. My phone number also is there. On this, and regarding the safety, HSC, disaster management, emergency management, I'm an interested person. And any discussion on that is always welcome from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So can we move on to the question answer session?
Please, please.
Okay, so there's a question from Narayanan sir. So can you cite an example where a major accident took place in a major plant due to human failures? How such failures could be avoided? Are there any IT majors who have come up with a software package for risk management?
Yeah, there are so many examples wherein the industrial accidents have come up. Accidents, if it comes up in risk terminology, it either comes from unsafe act or comes from unsafe condition. Unsafe act means somebody is responsible for that. Unsafe condition means that some condition is there that because of that it has happened. So in oil, I'm an oil and gas person. I worked very long that Piper Alpha incident has happened in 1974. And after that, that company also, the petroleum itself is not there. 165 people were the fatalities. So there, actually, one condensate pump, it was, repairing was taking place. And instead of placing the safety valve and closing down the one blind was put. And shift-to-shift handover took place at night, and proper shift handover did not take place. That the night shift has come did not know that this pump is on blind. So when the pump tripped at night, they started the pump, and there was continuous condensate leakage in the air, and this pot got fire, and finally the entire platform burned. So this is nothing but major industrial millions of worth of asset and 165 people. Because you can assign that to what people only. So in many cases, our road accidents, whom will you assign it? Maybe if you assign 30-40% to unsafe conditions, you will have to assign 40, 50, 60, a good percentage. I'm not coming on any percentage. A good percentage is to be assigned to people. And this IT technology, the second part, I do not know that it is different actions happening. And there is an enormous opportunity for IT people to find and solve it. For example, that in Surat, there was last year, a tuition center wherein the fire took place in Surat, and there was no evacuation staircase proper available, and the students jumped off, and how many, I do not know, that some 10, 12 students died. So all those things are that the subject of study, and IT, from accident to accident, there can be involvement. I do not know that how much IT is involved and what's the involvement, because each case of accident can be a study separate. And both the risk and it is of interest to a risk person as well as an IT person. Okay.
Yes, sir. So there's another question as well. Sir, is there any international standards where any tolerance level of risk can be specified?
Yeah, a risk is specified in the Netherlands. There is yellow book, purple book, like that, it is available. And there, they have specified certain risk criteria. But those risk criteria, is it applicable to us? Though there is a standard, that standard applies to certain that they have adopted. But India is not adopted. India do not, in construction site, this should be the death rate maximum allowable, as far as India is concerned. Internationally, it is there. And it varies from country to country. And generally, this Netherlands standards are accepted in industries where higher safety standards are kept.
Okay, sir. So there's another question. Some companies accept the risks to do away with the cost involved to have the optimum standards of safety to be in place where it is cheaper to compensate the victims. Is there any standard by which risk that can be taken vis-a-vis safety of any organization?
Yeah, many times we can see that the safety is circumvented. Means safety is not given due care, and the business is going on. And when the business goes on, it goes on. But then, if something happens, a major accident happens, the business itself goes. That's what it cannot sustain. And this is that if some standards are kept, and these standards can be fixed internally, the risk also can be not only human risk, it can be business risk, it can be financial risk, it can be profitability risk, it can be ecological, it can be environmental risk. It can be fixed, and fixing that and then analyzing whether what is being achieved, that will help the business. That will tell you that where exactly you are, instead of say blindly that what's happening, not known. But in many cases, that's what it's blind.
Yes, so that's with the question answer session. Thank you so much, sir, for making us understand the importance of safety and the influence of human factors in it as well. And there is a comment in the chat box that we have: prepare for the worst and enjoy the best. And that's what he says. So. So that's with the question answer session, as I said. And so as we come to an end of today's event, I would like to request Professor Nandan S. to give the vote of thanks. Can we have you, sir?
Yeah. Good evening, all. Myself, Nandan S., representing Intersociety Trivandrum Chapter. So today we have successfully concluded the 34th webinar on the Intersociety Weekly Webinar Series. Jointly organized by the Institution of Engineers India Kerala State Center, then Computer Society of India Trivandrum Chapter, Project Management Institute Kerala Chapter, Intersociety Trivandrum Chapter, Vakkom Moulavi Foundation Trust Trivandrum Chapter, and IEEE EMBS Society. So we actually learned a lot about, safety, risks, and human factors from one of the most experienced persons in this field, who is none other than Mr. Narayanan Kutty K, who is a registered valuer and risk consultant. So our respected speaker, Mr. Narayanan Kutty, explained in detail about the uncertainty and risks, about the types of risks, and the persons who face risks. He also delivered some insightful examples, then have beautifully explained the importance of diverse and wider perspectives and the results of this risk management, and so on and so forth. So on behalf of all the partnering organizations, I would like to extend our heartfelt, sincere thanks to Mr. Narayanan Kutty sir for spending your valuable time with us and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and your sincere efforts. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. I would thank for giving this opportunity.
So I also like to thank all the office bearers of our partnering organizations. Big thanks to Harindilal sir, who is the backbone of this Intersociety Weekly Webinar Series. Special thanks to Korut P. Varghese sir, Chair EMBS Kerala section, IEEE Kerala section, for the introductory note, and Suhair sir, who is the chairman of Vakkom Moulavi Foundation Trust, who is currently with us, who is a constant support for us. And special thanks to Nikita Sajid and Fida Fatima for your support. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants for your support and your presence, for being here with us. I hope you might have learned a lot. You might have gained a lot from our most experienced resource person here. So thank you so much. Thank you all. Stay safe and take care.
Thank you so much, Nandan sir. Indeed, we have gained a lot from today's talk as well. And thank you, sir. And once again, thank you to Narayanan sir for taking us through such a good talk. And so with this, we've come to the end of the 34th talk of the Intersociety Weekly Webinar Series. And we have our 35th upcoming talk of the Intersociety Weekly Webinar Series. The talk is on E-Waste Management School for the Homeless, an Ideal Concept. It is by Professor Sudha Balgopal, PhD, who is a Dean Academics with the Academy of Science and Technology, Thrissur, and it is on the 9th of December 2020, Wednesday, and it's from 6 to 7 p.m. So once again, thank you so much to all the attendees and to once again to Narayanan sir as well. And I would also like to request everyone to fill the feedback forms. And I would like to remind everyone that all those who have registered will be receiving the recordings as well. And also kindly mention your need for the certificates if necessary. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you to Harinderlal sir for we've reached the 35th talk, so that's indeed a really good thing. And once again, thank you to Harinderlal sir as well. Thank you so much.